Well, good morning. It's Tuesday, and we're all packed up, ready to go. We're going to start our first day of our 91-day trip around the United States. We got our stuff all packed. About, 3.5 hours for our first stop, Steve?
Yes.
Okay, that's about how far we have to go. So we're getting ready to pack up and roll out. Talk to you soon.
So we arrived at our first stop. We are set up. It was about a 3.5 hour together trip, just about as expected. Staying here at Fireside RV Resort. We've stayed here 2 other times in the past, but seemed like a good place to stop for our first time as well. So first of like 40 plus stops to go. So just taking a little early evening walk before the sun goes down here on our first night.
Yep. Not very busy here yet. Tuesdays aren't busy at the RV park, it appears.
And it's still April.
True.
So we'll just take you along a little bit as we walk here. Yep. Especially when there's not a lot of people here to keep up after right now. Yet.
It'll be crazy come summer.
And we're back in case we aren't sure which one's ours now. We're moving and shaking.
Appointment, she let me know, unfortunately, and she was moving to a VA hospital and suggested I check out Dr. Bro. She said Dr. Bro was very similar to herself in her way of treating patients. She understood that I really wanted to partner with someone. I didn't want to go to a doctor who was just going to give me meds and tell me to go home and live on. I wanted someone who was going to help me live my best life. I wanted a doctor that would work with me to live my best life in spite of Parkinson's. Choosing a doctor is very important. You should find one that you're comfortable with and that listens to you. You and your caregiver know best about how you're responding to meds and how Parkinson's is showing up in your day-to-day life. Your doctor should listen to you and guide you and your caregiver. For me, that is Dr. Bro. My medication, side effects, and eventually surgery. We tried many different combinations of meds, but the side effects were more than the symptoms for me, and the med's effectiveness wore off before the next dose was due. I had all left-sided symptoms. My toes curled. My arm didn't swing naturally. I had general stiffness in my left side. As we added meds, I was stuttering while trying to talk as a side effect from, I think it was Gocovri. And then I was rocking back and forth, and again, being in a director role at Rouse's, sitting in an important staff meeting, rocking back and forth with Todd, it was embarrassing. Dr. Bro suggested I consider DBS surgery. She also suggested I should attend the upcoming Davis-Finney seminar where I could learn more about Parkinson's treatments, DBS surgery, and any other options for care. At this point, I thought DBS surgery was a last resort surgery, something you would only do when there was no other options left. What I learned at the Davis-Finney seminar was that DBS surgery was not a last resort. In fact, if you waited too long, you may not be able to qualify for the surgery. My husband and I attended the Davis-Finney seminar, and shortly after, we attended the seminar at Ochsner's on Parkinson's. We went to all the different breakout sessions. I know they had sessions that my husband went to for caregivers. They had sessions that were for the patient. And we learned so much during that particular 2 events. And I suggest if they ever come back here, Davis-Finney, please go and attend. It is absolutely phenomenal. Also, if you don't have their 2 books they have, and they are free, There's a book for caregivers and there's a book for the Parkinson's patient. As a matter of fact, they're just updating it now, and I believe it's supposed to be out in the next month or so. Is that right, Dr. Ruff? And so, anyway, I really suggest you get that. And if possible, give them a little donation. If you can't give them a donation, it is free. We learned all we could on options for treatment and what we could do so I could live my best life during those particular seminars. I read everything I could about Parkinson's, trying to make an educated decision. In 2024, I decided that DBS surgery was my best option. Once that decision was made, I had to go through cognitive testing to ensure I was a good candidate for the surgery. On November 1st, 2024, I had the DBS surgery. I chose the Boston Scientific Rechargeable DBS. I don't mean to minimize how big of a decision this is, but funny enough, the idea of having my whole head shaved was my biggest concern. Poor Dr. Bro, I asked her numerous times, can you just shave a part of it? Do you have to shave my whole head? And she was, nope, I gotta shave the whole thing. But that was my biggest fear. And there we go. You put the rest of those pictures up so I can. So I swore no one's ever gonna see me that way, okay? And here I am showing all of you these pictures. But that was my biggest fear, was that having my head shaved. And as you see there in the bottom right picture, that is the incision, which is like a horseshoe shape. So it's in this side of my head, horseshoe shape. And it was staples to hold it closed. And then it was just maybe within 7 days, Ben, that we went out to see a play that we'd already bought tickets to, and I wrapped my head in that pretty little scarf. And that's how, I mean, 7 days I was able to go to a play. I mean, it was really amazing. The surgery is done in 2 parts. First, brain surgery to place the wires in the brain, and you're awake during this part of the surgery, so the doctors can determine where to place the stimulation. People ask what it was like to be awake while someone was drilling into your skull. Well, for me, it felt like similar to like at a dentist and getting a tooth filled. I mean, it really was no different. You heard the sound, and that was it. The second surgery is to place a device in your chest and to connect the wires. You're not awake for the second surgery. As long as all goes well, you spend 1 night in the hospital, and then you go home after the first surgery. For the second surgery, no overnight stay is required. The first night after brain surgery was the toughest. I would say the pain was pretty intense, but it was really 1 night of really intense pain. And then when I went home the next day with pain meds, I think I took them maybe half of the first day, and after that I was fine. The recovery as a whole was a lot easier than I expected or thought it would be. During my surgery, the doctors discussed how thick my skull was. When I heard them responding during the surgery while I'm laying there, I heard it and I said, I responded during the surgery saying, my dad always said, hey Denise, you have a thick skull, every time I wouldn't have listened to his advice. My husband has taken this information and he has run with it. And tells everybody that they all knew I was hard to get along with and had a thick skull. The time between the 2 surgeries was about a week, I believe. Is that right, about a week? After both surgeries were completed, I had time to heal. I had an appointment in early December with Dr. Bro, and she turned on the DBS. Once it's on, she tweaks the settings until she finds what works best for you. Ryan is a local patient advocate from Boston Scientific, and he attends every visit with me, my husband, and Dr. Bro. After surgery, I was able to reduce the dosage and type of medications I took prior to surgery. For me, this was the best option. I see Dr. Bro about every 3 months, and we address any issues and adjust the DBS if needed. Environmental or hereditary? That was kind of my next questions here. At first glance, you would say this must be a hereditary disease for my family. I did the genetic testing, and it came back as no known markers were found. Could it be possible that we have markers that have not yet been discovered? That's possible. Could it be environmental? We all lived in Southeast Louisiana. Grandfather, my mother, and myself. I guess that's possible. As a child, I rode my bike behind a truck spraying for mosquitoes with all my 4 brothers and my sister, as well as all the other kids in the neighborhood. We thought it would make us invincible to mosquitoes. None of my siblings or other kids were diagnosed with Parkinson's, though. Not sure that my grandfather and mother did this either. I would doubt it. So still it's a mystery for me as to why Parkinson's has attacked my family. On this journey with Parkinson's, I've learned some very important things. 1, you own your journey. Be your own advocate. 2, you should read about new discoveries and treatments for Parkinson's. 3, learn all you can about this disease. Knowledge is power. 4, exercise is the only thing that will slow down Parkinson's. Choose an exercise you enjoy, and you would do it. If you enjoy dancing, then dance. If you hate dancing, then don't choose dancing. You'll never do what you don't like, but there's so many things you can do. There's videos on TV, there's Parkinsons, videos on exercises that you can do in a chair. So just find something and do it. It's my best advice there. And then Rock Steady Boxing is a great exercise program designed specifically for Parkinson's patients. They typically meet 3 times a week. What I've noticed is at 11 a.m. The only issue I found was that when I could not find a program that met in the evenings while I was still working full time. Number 5, your significant other or caregiver should attend your doctor's visits with you. A lot of times you go to the doctor's visits and you got a lot in your mind and you have a lot of questions. You leave and you kind of forget maybe what they said or some of the things you want to do or some of the questions you had, you forget. Your caregiver, or for my case, it's my husband who's always with me, will remind me of things maybe I wanted to ask or remember what Dr. Rose said that I may have forgotten. Number 6, prepare for each visit with your doctor. Your doctor only has a limited amount of time and a lot of patients. So it's best if you plan ahead and you know what you're going to ask, so you can spend that 15 to 30 minutes, whatever you have, using the best opportunity to get the answers you need. Write down your questions and bring them with you. Dr. Gross suggested I read the Parkinson's plan. I read the book and brought it with me to my next appointment, all flagged up with questions. Her and Ryan went through all my questions with me and my husband. And to my surprise, one of the authors, Dr. Dorsey, was at the Parkinson's Symposium that we just had in April. It was a pleasure to hear him speak. And 7, attitude can really make a difference. And that's a really strong point I want to make. You can, which is what I saw with my mom. Her attitude was, I can't get cured, I can't go on, so life is over. My attitude is, I'll be damned if you're going to take me down Parkinson's. I'm going to fight back every step of the way. I'm going to do anything and everything in my power to be the winner in this situation. So all I can say is wake up every morning and say you're going to beat it. Wake up every morning and say you're going to take that step. I mean, like Thursday, I woke up Thursday and walking was difficult. Walking, I have a very small house, 1,500 square feet. Walking from the bedroom to the kitchen was tiresome and difficult. Now I could have made a decision, the hell with this, go back to bed or go in my recliner and watch some TV. But instead I said, nope, I went outside, I watered the gardens, I worked in the yard, I pushed myself all day long. And it was hard, but I did it. And I really feel like if you do that, that you're gonna come out on the top side of this. You're gonna live your best life in spite of Parkinson's. Going forward, on December 31st, 2025, my husband and I retired. We sold our big house out in Destrehan, Louisiana, and we downsized to a very small house in Foley, Alabama. And we bought a fifth wheel RV and decided to travel while I'm still able to do so. That's our beautiful truck and fifth wheel there. I joined Rock Steady Boxing, and I go 3 times a week. I bought a boxing bag to take with me while traveling, so I can continue my Rock Steady Boxing while traveling in the RV. I did discover Rock Steady has videos that I can actually watch them and do the boxing and do my 3 times a week. And those are some pictures there of where I go, which is in Alabama right now. But there is one, I think, in Metairie here, and I think the hospital has one. They have one in St. Anne? I know they have one in Washington.
But I try to get that down here, guys.
Yeah, really, because I have to tell you, my very first time going, it was difficult. I was got these gloves on, I was going, yeah, really. But you start with warm-up exercises, you stretch, and they get your body ready, and then you exercise usually about 2 minutes of boxing, a minute break, 2 minutes of boxing, a minute break. Sometimes we do 3 sessions, sometimes we do 5. Really kind of depends on how everybody's feeling. And then we end with warm, stretching out and cooling down. So we spend a whole hour within this. And so I just went, my last one was on Monday, and before we left town in Foley, and I noticed how much better I was at boxing. So you can definitely do it, and it's look for, and if you can't find boxing locally, then be an advocate. Talk to your local gyms and stuff. It's your local gyms that offer the space, and that's why it's usually 11 o'clock in the morning, because they offer that space to someone to come in and do the Rock Steady Boxing. I looked to join a support group on social media for support. What we noticed was most of the sites were negative and depressing. So we decided to create a Facebook page and a YouTube channel to show that you can still live an enjoyable life in spite of a Parkinson's diagnosis. We took our first trip in February. We traveled for 30 days through Florida and Georgia. I was able to challenge myself with stops we made along the way. An example is when we went to a lighthouse, and the curator said we weren't going to be able to walk around the outside. Is that picture up there, Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah, see the middle picture there? That's the lighthouse. And the very, very top, You can walk out the door and you can walk around the outside, but the winds were like 25 to 30 miles an hour that day. So she said, you're not going to be able to do that due to high winds. I laughed and told the curator that I had Parkinson's and I would never make it that high. We went in and hit the stairs. I climbed all the way to the top. I call that a win against Parkinson's. I was very excited about that. We posted videos of this stop as well as many others which can still be viewed on our YouTube channel. This is now our first stop in our next adventure. We are traveling 91 days around the U.S., making stops to see sights, family, and friends along the way. We will be posting weekly as we live our best lives, and you can follow us on our Facebook and our YouTube. And so that is our logo, which we have on all the shirts and stuff. And those are so you can just scan. Steve has cards, business cards, and if anybody wants to grab one, then we'll able to have that. And I know I went fast because I talk fast, but.
This was our spot here in Rose City, Texas, just outside of Beaumont. Didn't get a chance to do any videos yesterday. It was raining the entire trip here and most of the day and most of the night, so really didn't get a chance to get out and do much. It was just a one-night stay, but here we are. We had a nice location. If we would have been nicer weather, across from the pool, lake, just a nice facility. Definitely someplace we need to stop again. All the concrete paths. Really pretty nice place.
Good afternoon. We're now here in Pearland, Texas. We're at Jetstream RV Park. It seems to be a park where there's a lot of people who live here, as well as visitors who are in and out. It's pretty well treed, so it's got a lot of shade. It's really a nice place. We're going to go visit some friends today, and right now we're going to walk over to the pool and check out that area. Right, Steve?
Yes, that's what we're going to do. So some nice tree-lined sites here, as you can see. Plenty of shade, which is really nice, especially in the Houston area in the summertime, or when it gets to be the summertime. Okay, we've arrived here in Bastrop at the Basin RV Resort. We are unhooked, connected. It's a nice site. Could use a little lawn mowing, but that might take place in the next couple days. But very long site, and got a nice patio here with tables and chairs and an umbrella and a fire pit. So there's a chance somebody's going to be having a fire in the night tonight or tomorrow night. We're here for 2 days, or actually 2 nights, visiting some friends here in Bastrop area.
Okay, so here's the first time to pull out the boxing bag, the remote one that we take with us. As you can see, we do our squats and punch the bag. Also, it's to do leg strengthening as well as the boxing, which causes the bag dopamine in your brain to be released. We noticed we didn't fill it totally with water, and it was a little bit too much. So next time around, we'll fill that bottom with a little more water. But this is exactly what you need to do to keep up moving. Boxing with Parkinson's, it works. Rock steady.
This was our overnight stop here in, I guess it's Northlake, Texas, or Justin, Texas, at the Hilltop. It's kind of a combination of stores. They got a grill shop, all kinds of grill accessories, and especially like rubs and sauces. And we have our hemp house, that they have some CBD products and stuff there, and the Hilltop Coffee Shop. The coffee shop is open this week, apparently, they said. So it's kind of, as you can see from the view here a little bit, you can kind of see a lot of miles. It really is on a hilltop. They also do U-Haul here too, so it's kind of a one-stop shop for a little bit of everything. And propane. This is a Harvest Host location, so it's part of the Harvest Host network. And so we're able to stay here. And as we come towards the back here, this is actually kind of where we are actually hooked up for what was last night. And leaving here probably in about an hour or two. Headed to Wichita Falls, Texas for a night. So we'll have more about that area, but we kind of just got done seeing friends last night that we hadn't seen in, I think we figured it was 14 years. So as we leave here, this will be kind of our last stop before we start seeing more travel stuff, less about visiting people, more about seeing the country and what's going on. As we come around back here, towards the back of their place, they actually have 3 hookup locations, full hookups. And so we were staying back here, and we're about to go back here to see this. There's just an open area. They just said today they're actually going to be paving this whole thing probably in the next 3 weeks, so which will really make it even nicer. So we're just kind of back here where we're at. And we're going to, like I said, be hooking up in about an hour or so and headed for Wichita Falls.